Hi, and welcome to this video. Today is going to be another one of those commentary videos, but this one, it may seem like everything's all over the place. I promise everything ties together. Everything makes sense here. We're not trying to, like, I promise all these things relate, is essentially what I'm trying to say, but I want to talk about, like, my experiences with sportsmanship, how I learned about it, and which is mostly through soccer and, football for, the rest of the world, and how that relates to DBD, where I really don't see these things. And this one's going to be a little bit more open ended by the end of this. Usually, when I'm having a commentary video, I'm just kind of talking about how I feel and how these things, quote unquote, for my opinion, like should be or are. But this one's going to be a little bit more open ended by the end. So I appreciate some, feedback at the end of this. Okay, so let's get into it. So I've been talking on stream the last couple of days, and I've brought this up like a couple times, right? I brought up this idea that sportsmanship was something I learned at an early age, like something I learned very, very early in my life. When I was in grade school, like first, second grade, I signed up for a soccer team or football. I'm just gonna refer it to soccer because that's what it is here in the States. But I know it's football for the rest of the world. I'm not trying to be like ununderstanding of that. But yeah, I signed up for soccer, and it was honestly one of the more fun experiences that I had in my childhood growing up. Going to those big, nice open fields at the parks, practicing, meeting new friends. I don't talk to a lot of people from my soccer team. I don't even like talk to anybody from my soccer team, to be honest. But I've made some people that would like, dive on a grenade for me on my soccer team. Like I know one guy in particular would do anything for me at the drop of a hat, even though we haven't talked in a really long time. So like a lot of good bonds were made there. But the more important thing that happened during those times was that I learned how to treat people and how playing games together works. Because I had a brother, but like when I first started playing soccer, I was like 6 or 7, and my brother's 3 years younger, so he was literally a toddler. So it's not like he's still trying to figure out how to like not poop himself, So it's a little different when you play games with him. But like other people relatively my age, it was the first time I'd really like been in a big group besides like school, which was, you're still biting people's arms and trying not to eat your own burgers, so that's a little different, you know. So soccer was my first big introduction to like playing team games, playing with other people and doing it in a way like what is the conduct when we're in those situations. And I wanted to make the big focus of this video on the card system that exists in soccer, because this is kind of like the guidelines that guide soccer and its rules. Because, if you play a nice, clean game, cards never an issue. But, obviously we're still kids. We were still trying to figure out what's going on. So the card system came into effect quite a lot. Now, essentially, there are the two main cards, which is the yellow card and the red card. And that's what the ref throws up whenever something bad happens. So yellow card is the lesser one. The yellow card's is the one that's less of a big deal. However, it's mostly used, and here's the case, for unsporting behavior or dissent through words and actions. So like if a kid would like yell something like, I wish I could beat you up, or I hate you, you stink, like that's a yellow card. And the ref would throw it, and that kid, while a yellow card doesn't like, a yellow card's more like a warning. Yellow card doesn't really like actually like mean anything. And of course, yellow card has other things like if you like delay the play of the game, or you leave the field without like telling anybody, like that's a yellow card. But it's just a warning, right? It's just a hey, get back in line. Like nothing really happens for yellow cards. The one you need to be worried about. The one you need to be worried about is the red card. The red card's the big scary one. And this is only used for like big deals, like if somebody like intentionally slide tackles to hurt someone, or like actually punches them, or the important thing, uses abusive language or gestures. See where this is? You can already see where this is going, don't you? But when a red card happens, that person has to be removed. They have to be benched. They can't participate in the match anymore. So they basically have to find somebody to sub in for them because their behavior is egregious and has no place on the field. Have I gotten red cards? Yes. Because if you're like 5 or 6, 7, you don't know what's going on yet, and you're still trying to figure out how to treat people and how to do things. Um, so yeah, you're still trying to figure out how to do things and like treat people. So like that's where a lot of these kids learn this. But I remember there was a team, I forget what their names were, but they had the orange jerseys. And they just like they got red cards like every single game because I don't know, was that team? Maybe it was just like the area or whatever, but like they were always cussing, throwing the middle finger, like shoulder checking people, just doing all these things. And there were red cards all the time. And like they ended up having to just like rotate players all the time and needing a lot of backup players. It was just annoying. But yeah, they were always like in deep trouble because the orange team was like always really mean. Like even when we were playing skirmishes with them, which are games that don't count, by the way. It's like like they were like incredibly cruel. So we kept having to like they got so many red cards. But like the difference is when you get yellow cards, which is just like not not anything. It's just like you just continue. It's just a warning. But red cards is like you're kicked off. Like you can't play anymore. So like and if you get like a ton of red cards, like you could get suspended too. Like they won't see you, they won't put you in like multiple games after that. It's not just like that game. So like if you get multiple red cards, they may just like suspend you for multiple games. So like I just like even in and I played like I wasn't just grade school. Like I played soccer up until I think like 7th or 8th grade. But like I like even at this like incredibly young age, like not treating your opponents in a game badly was like very, very tangibly punishable. I think that's the point I'm trying to make is like it's very, very tangibly punishable. Like if you conducted yourself in a mean or cruel way to your opponents, and gloating counts. Like if you, one of them, I forgot to cover this. One of them is like, if you like gloat, if you like have an easy shot, an obvious shot, and you like hold up the game to gloat or make the shot and then gloat, like you can get carded for that too. Like being a good sport is literally integrally in the rules of soccer. It just is. Like you have to be a good sport or else you get carded. You just do. And I just like, and I know like soccer isn't the only one like this. There's other sports have similar rules like this. And I feel like I mean, this could be an assumption, which is why I'm putting this video out. Cause like, this is more of a discussion, I feel, cause I want your input. It's like, I feel like most people our age or near my age did stuff like that. Like they participated in a steam port or a steam port, a team sport, or they had like, even if you didn't participate in like team sports, you had like group projects as kids, right? Like even if it was all the way up until high school, you had group projects that you had to participate in, right? And like, I think my perplexion with like the kind of behavior that happens in like Dead by Daylight is like, did these people not have these experiences or do they just not care? I guess because like I learned from a very early age that like this stuff that you get in trouble for is bad and you shouldn't do that. Like if you're playing games with people, excuse me, sorry. If you're playing games with people, this is not how you conduct yourself, and you can like tangibly get in trouble for this. Like you can actually like get removed from a game or multiple games for the rest of it, like an entire tournament. Like we had a kid on our team who was a little uppity, and I remember he had to sit out for like 3 games because like he just kept mouthing off to other players. He would mouth off to the coaches. He would mouth off to the ref, and he got thrown out for like 3 games because of that. Like he was, and we were trying to win the league, you know. So like that sucked. But like that's what I'm saying is like why like fundamentally growing up, this treating people well, being a good sport was integrated into the rules of the game that I played, and I'm just confused as to how people in Dead by Daylight don't understand this. Like it's just not something that they've experienced. Because like when I talk to most people that like grew up around my age, even a little bit before, it's like I feel like most people have been at least part of a team sport or a big group project at some point, right? Like that's something that's like mutually felt among like people my age, which most of the people who play Dead by Daylight are either teenagers to people like in their 30s. That's just their demographic. So between like emerging adults, like young adults, teens, all the way up to like middle-aged adults. Like that's like their main demographic, right? So like people in these generations, when they tell me that they played in a team sport, like most people have played in a team sport, but like based on the behavior of how you act in the game, it does not look like you played in a team sport, because like these, like I was saying, these rules are very tangible, and like there's very, very obvious and critical effects for treating your opponents or your teammates like hot garbage. Like you would literally get removed from games, suspended for multiple games. There was very, very tangible consequences for these actions. But like it seems like in our older age, like I see so many people that like would get kicked off their teams for one game, multiple games, or entirely if they're too much of a problem. That just like play online video games now, and now they're just like doing all the things that are completely against like what they'd been taught through their team training. And like I just don't get it. And I think that's where I want you to step in, right? This is where I want you to step in, is like, what do you think happened? Like, what do you think went wrong here? Like, how did the most of us go through team sports, or even just like big team projects, where we had very, very tangible rules and punishments for being a jerk? Like being a jerk was literally against the rules. And now that we're in like online games like Dead by Daylight, like we're being mean to each other. Like essentially, like even something as small as like clicking your flashlight and teabagging is like, that's like essentially flipping a bird on the field. And that would be it depends on the ref, to be honest. Might be a yellow card, might be a red card, but you would get punished for it, right? But I feel like for some reason in Dead by Daylight, we're like, well, you know, back in the COD days, they used to say slurs in chat, so therefore everything's okay. Like, it's just, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you sound like a weirdo when you say stuff like that. You sound like a gaming boomer. That's what you sound like. You sound like a gaming boomer, and you sound stupid. Please stop saying that. Please stop saying, back in my day, we used to be able to say slurs. Oh, shut up. It was never okay. And it never should be okay. Okay? We got that under control. Like, just, I hate that. It's like, oh, man. I don't ever want to hear people who say that make boomer jokes ever, because that's what you sound like when you're doing stuff like that. But yeah, TLDR. I grew up playing, sports where bad sportsmanship was punishable and was like, widely taught to us to be a bad thing. And there was very tangible consequences for us doing these bad things. But somehow all of us grew up in our bad sports in games like Dead by Daylight, and I just find it super weird. So if I'm kind of interested to see what you say, I'm interested to see like, what do you think is the reason behind that? I personally think, just to make it short, is that it's just like there's just this level of anonymity to it. Like, you think there's no consequences tied to you and your actions, so you just do whatever. Right? You just like, oh, I had a bad day and I don't even know who that is, or it's just some stranger, and so I'm just gonna go off, right? Even though that's not okay, but that's like part of it, because it's just what people do, I guess, and it's not good. It's definitely just not good. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you say. I'm interested to see how you view this situation. And I can't wait to see what you put down in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching this video and spending time with me on whatever part of the day it is for you. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I appreciate you, bud. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.